So, because the R8 got a bath, I figured it was time to do this on this guitar as well, the R9. And it is, of course, a little different than your normal R9, but it's also been sitting in the demo shop / Gibson warehouse for at least 8 months. So it needs a good bath, especially, it really just needs fretboard conditioning more than anything else. But the bath will get it to where this top looks the best it possibly can as well. So same thing as last time. This time though, when we pull the pickups out, we'll be looking at different things, and I'll actually measure the outputs on these pickups because I am really curious what the output is, because these are Memphis historic spec pickups. So again, this is going to be a kind of a new thing for me. So kick back, relax, and if you're bored, fast forward. So something I noticed while doing this little deal is that while the pickups themselves don't have much VOS on them, the actual, they have a little aging on the hardware and the screws. So there's like little rust spots on the screws. So while the pickups themselves look brand new, the actual hardware around it doesn't look new. I think that's kind of interesting, because that kind of defies the normal VOS treatment, but at the same point in time, just a random observation. So to really give it the best chance at seeing what it looks like before and after, here is the before of the fretboard, and it is very dry looking. Beautiful color, beautiful wood grain and everything, but the actual color itself is very, very much dry. So be back shortly with what it looks like with some conditioner on it. So this is a much better representation of what this fretboard should look like color-wise. And then I'm going to let this, I kind of laid it on pretty thick in an effort to try to make it where it was going to sink in, because it was very dry. So giving it time to do that, we'll be down here working on the pickups. Alright, so moment of truth here. Let's find out what is in this guitar. So we know the 58 had some long leads, but these are short leads, or at least this one is a short lead. Let's see what it says. MHS2 Rhythm. So when you see the PAF sticker there, see if I can make the phone camera a little brighter there. But anyway, so that is Memphis Historic Spec 2 Rhythm. And then another really short Memphis Historic Rhythm Humbucker number 1, RHY HUMB1. So 7/30 of 18 and 6/13 of 18. So maybe the Rhythm humbucker is not a Memphis historic spec, or maybe I don't know. That's in the bridge. So RHY humbucker number 1. So a Rhythm humbucker in the lead position, and then a Rhythm humbucker in the neck position. So that's kind of an interesting set of guys. But that also might explain why this guitar has a unique sound to it, is because the pickups are in a non-standard or non-traditional configuration. So interesting. So while this guitar was listed as having a VOS treatment on it, it didn't have a whole lot of VOS on the top. Now it does have some in other places, but the actual top had almost no VOS on it. But it did have a little bit of that gunky stuff, and you can see even just after the cleaner, there's a big difference in the amount of shine on this top. The carve is way more exaggerated, and especially around right here, there's some movement that was not expected. I mean, like I say, the Virtuoso cleaner really does do a good job of getting that junk off the top. So you can see that there's a lot of really good movement now, and especially up near the fretboard, there's a lot of clean that happened. So now I'm pretty ecstatic about the idea of getting some polish on here to see how much more it does, if it does any more, or if it just makes everything sealed pretty. So here is the finished polished project, and that came out great. Not really much more movement than after just the cleaner, but enough that it made it worth it. Now, something I've noticed in this guitar that I think is unique, maybe it's this way with all custom shop guitars, and I just never noticed it before, but there's no markings anywhere in the neck or in the pickup pockets. There's nothing in there, and that's something I'm not used to seeing. I don't know if that's something that's because it's a custom shop that makes it unique or what, but there is nothing in those pockets other than just pickups. So no writing or anything like that, and I thought that was kind of weird because, like I say, I genuinely was thinking there would be something, but there's nothing. So anyway, don't know if that's specific to custom shop reissues or if that's something that was not done, or maybe it was done because it's a demo shop guitar. You know, like I said, just random notice. Thought it was interesting. So here's a little bit better of the top and the motion of it as we move around on there. But that fretboard looking much, much, much more like something you would see on a custom shop project. The overall effect, man, is just really different. Like I say, there's a lot of visible grain here going back and forth that was kind of diminished with the VOS. That's very obvious. And these little streak marks here, I'm guessing those are mineral streaks of some sort, but they all look really nice. So all in all, time to string it back up. Alright, so now everything turned up to 10 with these pickups. So remember, Memphis Historic Spec in the Memphis Historic Spec 2 in the neck, 6.91. Bridge is 7.03. So that's, what would we say it was, rhythm humbucker number 2. So that's apparently so that's, you know, not very far off. And then in the middle, 3.48. So 6.9, 7.0, and 3.4. So at the end of the day, pretty balanced between the two, but kind of like the R8. But they're not quite as high output, which is, like I say, interesting. So Burstbucker 2's in the 58, and then Rhythm Memphis Historic Spec Rhythm in the neck, and then I'm guessing maybe Memphis Historic Spec Rhythm in the bridge, or Memphis Historic Spec number 2 in the bridge. I'm gonna have to look that one up and see what it was billed as on the build sheet, because that's definitely something that I was not expecting to find inside there. So anyway, I'll get this finished up and then put a little more playing into it. Before I do that though, so pick guard off, pick guard on. That's you know, for historic spec it would definitely be pick guard on, but without that pick guard on, sure is flamey. So, finished product. Oh, I should turn that down. Finished product. Lots of flamey movement. This guitar is what I think a 59 should look like. And stinger to boot, man. I mean, like, so would I say this was a good buy? I think that it definitely was. I think that the sound of it is pretty cool, and I question the type of pickups, but they... So there it is, DS038. Now I do have one more thing I'm going to take apart before we get this finished for this video, because I'm curious as to what the wiring looks like on the inside. So give me a minute. I won't bore you with that process, but I do want to see what's on the inside of the control cavity. Well, if that isn't exactly what you expect to find in a R9, I don't know what is. There's your R9, and there's the Bumblebee caps, and there's the Gibson pots. So exactly what you think should be in there is exactly what's in there. So Bumblebee caps with R9's labeling. So there you go. Exactly what should be in there is what's in there. So that wraps that up. Now we know what's in it. We know what the control cavity looks like, and it is looking much more like a 59 reissue now. So anyway, DS0038, kind of a double bucket list for me, like I say. Demo shop number and R9. Till next time.